All right, folks, thank you guys so much for joining me. We are going to get started. I may stop a little bit here and there to admit people in the room. I thought I had given people an auto invite, but somehow it did not take. So anyway, let me get started. Guys, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate this. My name is Tracy Meisner, and this is my 13th year teaching film and video. I come from the industry, and I joined Alpharetta High School in 2009. And the reason for my doing this is because I am seeing a huge number of film and video teachers kind of suffering from a lot of the same problems that I had when I first started. And it really doesn't matter if you're year 1, year 2, year 5, year 7. We're all going to be facing a lot of the same issues. So I want to give you kind of an overview of what my high school is like, the demographics. I teach in a fairly affluent area, Alpharetta, Georgia. Alpharetta High School is typically one of the top 5, 6 high schools in the state in terms of sending kids to college, AP scores, SAT scores, ACT scores. So I'm competing against that. The diversity of our school is pretty wide. We are about, I would say, 50% Indian, about probably 20% Asian, about 20% white, and the other is a mix of Hispanic and other cultures. Currently, there's about 15 to 20 different languages spoken at Alpharetta at any given time. You could hear in the halls Spanish, Russian, Persian, Hebrew. So we've got a wide diversity. So the issues that I dealt with, that I think some of you have dealt with, is class management. And class management is the key, the overall essence of getting your program back on track and doing what it is that you want it to do. So what has worked for me, at least, has been a systemized approach. So kind of bear with me, because I don't talk in teacher speak. I talk in business speak. So you gotta kind of bear with me if you're not from industry. If you were, bred a teacher, then, more power to you. I was not taught to be a teacher. So adopting a systemized approach is basically this. This is how we do it here. So what I want to do is I want to share some videos with you. Some of them may strike a chord with you. Some of them might not. They're all fairly short. I think the longest one is 3 minutes. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you and bring up my first example. And this is our system. We had to have a way to streamline getting announcements into our show. So I added a form on my website for teachers to send in announcements. I made a Gmail account so the students had to access that email account, and they could actually retrieve those emailed forms. All they had to do was copy and paste into the teleprompter app. Those emails were to be put in the teleprompter for announcements to be read. Thus, a teleprompter person was created. The announcements had to be read by on-screen talent. Thus, a two-person on-screen talent was created. Then, the announcements had to be filmed and had to have good audio. Thus, a cameraman position was created. Canva cards had to be created to give us a visual to the announcements. So a Canva account was created and a Canva person was added into our system. The announcements were filmed on a green screen and had to be edited. Thus, an announcement editor was formed. The announcement editor had to also insert the Canva card into the announcement timeline. Those announcements had to be edited into a final timeline. A final timeline editor was created, and that person also takes airdrop videos of packages that the other students create during the week. All of this had to be overseen so that there was one person accountable for every single job. If a student was absent for that particular job, it was the producer's responsibility to either step into that role or find a suitable replacement on the spot. This is our system, kind of like an assembly line approach to building a show. And this is how we do it here. Okay, so basically that's our system to run our show. So what I'm asking you guys to do in your class is I want you to think about what do you want your top student to do, to be able to do when they leave your program. If you write that down now, and it could be anything. It could be, I want that student to be able to do a 30-second piece on their own. So I'm not going to tell you what to do. And I'm seeing if my camera switched on me, and it did. So I'm not going to tell you what your student should be able to do, but I'm going to let you know what I want my student to be able to do. So you're going to hear a term throughout this whole procedure called run it like you own it. And run it like you own it is exactly what it sounds like. They should be able to run a program. And it could be a TV, a broadcast, it could be produce a video, it could be anything. So I want my student to walk out my door in May, my senior, to be able to walk into any production and fit right in and know that they could run that program, of which my students have done as freshmen in college. So those of you that are teaching this stuff, you're teaching your students, you're giving your students a leg up in college, because I poll my students that are in college, and we're finding out that over half the students that go into film and video have really little to no experience. So already your students are above. So what you just saw was my system to run my morning show. Our morning show is, it's a conglomeration of announcements, entertainment. My input in that show is this: on Monday, I pick a producer. That's it. That's the class. And if you could do that in your class, then you're all set. I have had a number of colleges and universities come in and watch the students, and they all say the same thing. What class size are we talking? Great question. 30 students. 30 students. And I greatly appreciate your questions. So this is my top class. Usually those students have been with me for 4 years. And so they kind of know that they actually do know the system. And so I want that student to walk out and to run it like they own it. Let me unshare this. So with regard to the morning show, and right now we're just talking about the morning show. How many, just out of curiosity, how many of you guys produce some sort of announcements or show? So a few of you, quite a few. That is a huge boost for you guys because that's your marketing. I systemized the morning show so that the students literally fit into a system. Now, I'm not telling you how to develop your own system, but I want you to think about why systems work. Go into any Chick-fil-A, and every Chick-fil-A is exactly the same. They have mastered the system of the drive-through. And so what I did was I watched Chick-fil-A, and I watched them literally put students in the system, and the students did their little part in the system, and it produced something big. And that is what we show. So it makes the program look really spectacular, even if you're just trying to fake it. So let's talk about how do you get there. You have to systemize your program. And I apologize if I'm saying words like you have to. It's worked for me. So the two most important things in a classroom, in a program, the two most important things is a central place to give work and receive work. That's it. Give work and receive work. If you establish that, you've already started a system. I have a website called ahsvideo.com. I'm gonna see if I can find my chat. Google Classroom works perfectly. A couple of things that I kind of want to talk about that is kind of off topic. For those of you that are building your program, it is, I think, very important to own your own website. So I know the school systems, they have, you could use a host of like Google Classroom or whatever. By owning your own website, it gives you a little bit more control over what you're releasing out to the public and what you can accomplish. And ultimately, that's probably why you're here. You're just wanting control. I keep looking at the wrong cameras. I have multiple cameras set up. I established a site called ahsvideo.com. It's free to my students, to the administration, to my students, to parents. And in there is a Google Calendar. Now, unfortunately, because of COVID, I have sort of migrated over to Teams because it's just been easier. But if you go to my website and you look at the class calendar and you go back to 2019 before COVID, you'll see our lessons. So I want to share that with you really quickly.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Oh man, talk about technology glitch. All right, so I am, all right. So here is my class calendar. Here is the website, by the way. It's ahsvideo.com. If you notice, these are all icons. And the reason for this is really, really simple. 99.9% of my students access this on their phones. So the class calendar. So I'm going to go back to 2019. Actually, back in September 2020. So I have broken this out into red, blue, green, and yellow. Red is my level 1, blue is level 2, green is the morning show, and gold is the film class. So if you click on package 1, it will say the due date, and it will say what I'm asking for and examples. So all the examples are hyperlinked and go to whatever it is that I'm going to be talking about. There's the know, understand, do. I started doing this about 12 years ago when teachers or admins started asking for lesson plans. The nice part about this is that while it says September 8th to September 28th, 2020, I can go back into my Google Calendar and just change the date to 2021, 2022, 2023. So your lessons become all done for the rest of the year. So if you look at this, here's the Foley Project. This is a level 1 project. It's started on September 16th and it works to September 30th. That way, parents, teachers, administrators, and students know when it was assigned and when it's due. It's up there 24/7. There's no hand. If you're dealing in paper, stop. I stopped using paper 12 years ago. So here are my projects. Here's September. Here's October. Here's November. Here's December. What do you think that does to my stress level? Down. I don't know about you, but I've been reading teacher websites, and the number one thing that teachers are dealing with is stress. And some of it is because I don't know what we're going to teach. My first year of teaching was this. I'd walk from my car to the building, and in that moment was what I was going to do that week. That doesn't work. It produces so much stress on you and me and everybody that you can't really manage your class because you're trying to manage yourself. So if it's that simple, guys, this is what we're doing. Here's the beauty part of this whole system. In level 1, my admin, in fact, came in to my class, I think it was in October. If every project you do, you give them a start date and a complete date, you show them an example, you show them how to do it, you build a team, however you want to build a team, everybody numbers 1 through 7, and all the 1s get together, all the 2s get together, all the 3s get together. It doesn't matter to me. But by October, the kids in level 1 know exactly what to do and when to do it and when it's due. One of the biggest complaints that I have seen, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my kids don't seem to do much. They sit in an edit bay and they're on YouTube. Does that happen to anybody? If it does, let it. Let it. Because the due date is the due date is the due date. That's it. Like, and then we move on. Some of you are going to be dealing with recovery of items, and we'll get to that down the road. But level 1 is exactly like level 2. If you notice, by the time I get to January, I have a level 1, 2, and 3 all doing the same project. How is that possible? Well, real simple. What do you think a 30-second commercial is going to look like from a level 1 student? It's going to be okay. A level 2 student, what do you think that's going to look like? It's going to look better. A level 3 student, that video is going to look awesome. So let's see what that looks like. Here is a level 3 commercial. And this is a level 3 commercial.
Good morning, class, and welcome to Dramatic Writing. I'm Mr. Womack. Before we begin, does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
So what exactly do we do in this class?
Well, wait a minute. You're telling me you signed up for dramatic writing, but you don't know what we study.
Precisely.
All right. Let me show you. Our class studies how to write for the big screen. Maybe 10 minutes. Throughout the year, we'll watch a lot of movies, skits, and some clips from plays, and then we'll analyze those clips and see how they create certain mood and tone to the story it's portraying.
Okay, but what about the writing part?
Glad you asked. Show them, Noah. Our class is a creative writing class, which means you get to tell the stories you want to tell, and you get to write them in a way that you never have before. And then eventually we turn those stories into movie scripts.
Okay, sweet. Well, what about homework? Nice.
Dramatic writing is a unique English class in that it counts as your 4th year of English. It earns a fine arts credit as well, and it's an honors class, so you get 7 points. If you like what you saw today and you're interested in creative writing, sign up for dramatic writing. Thanks. Have a good day.
Okay. So that's what a level 3 commercial looks like. Any questions so far? Zachary Cohen, what's your question?
Question was, how do you deal, are these kids making the video like all within your class time? Are they taking time out? Are they doing after school? Like, how are they?
I don't even concern myself with that. I really don't. This particular student, he's kind of special, or was kind of special. He graduated last year. He started with me as a sophomore, and he took to video pretty quickly. He graduated in May, and his dream job was to shoot hype videos for Atlanta United. He's shooting hype videos for Atlanta United. He's also Shaquille O'Neal's personal filmmaker. So Shaquille O'Neal took a liking to him and hired him. The boy is filming now on a Red. So he might have done this during class. He might have done it after school, before school. The job that we do as teachers is really simple. And I want you guys to kind of hear it, because sometimes you don't hear it. You guys have the opportunity to change some kid's life. You just don't know who it is yet. And that's the beauty part of teaching. And that's what I want you to have with you in the back of your head at all times. I'm going to change some kid's life. I'm going to show them how to use these tools, and I'm going to inspire them. And by having a system and setting up your system, it gives you the opportunity as a human being to connect with the student. And that is of utmost importance. So I want to talk to you about run it like you own it. I could talk all day long about what run it like you own it is, but here it is simply. It's where you empower the student, or in my case, I started doing this in my business with employees, where the student in your class runs the class. That edit bay, and I don't know if you guys have edit bays or edit stations or whatever, it's theirs. It's theirs. And when you bring a guest into your place, they're the ones who show what it is that you guys do. So run it like you own it basically empowers the student to give them control. But that's from my voice. I want to show you what they think.
Run it like you own it means
that you take something and take ownership of it.
the thing with run it like you own it to me gives every student the idea that, okay, we have an idea, we have this thing we want to do, we can grab it and we can go with it.
You're producing something for yourself how you want it and not like others. It's basically like a unique thing and an individuality thing.
Pretty much like saying do your own thing. It's how you would like to run a show, and everybody runs shows differently.
I think Meisner has taught us that you have to run the business how you would do it if you were the CEO. So you make sure everybody's doing their job correctly, you make sure everybody's on task, and everything gets done. And then if it doesn't, then it's on you and the whole team.
As a student, specifically in this class, Run It Like You Own It has given me a lot of creative freedom.
I think when you're like running like you own it, it like teaches you so much like in the moment. If you take pride in something, you're gonna work harder, you're gonna care about it more.
We can use our problem solving skills.
You kind of take charge and that you run it how you would if you were actually in the industry.
Run It Like You Own It has helped me, I guess, take responsibility for a lot of things. I think it'll help us down the road because if it was the kind of thing where you micromanaged everything, where everything was micromanaged, then the students, it would feel more like a class than preparation for something in the future, and it would just be like every other class.
But within this class, it's helped me with, okay, like this idea isn't crazy, even though other people say it might be to fit in a video like that. It's like, no, like it's my idea. I know I can do it, so let me do it.
It helps me because when I have a plan and I have steps to execute that plan, I can do it accordingly and do it my way.
Run It Like You Own It has impacted me as a student, mostly by being able to discern between what is just, basic learning and what's real learning.
I would tell the teacher to let the students take charge, because when you get to be creative and have the creative freedom, it really allows you to run wild with it and do the best of your ability to create something that you're proud of and that will ultimately make your teacher proud as well.
Like I said, I've taken more ownership over what I do, care about what I do more. It's not just getting projects done or getting the morning show up, it's actually making sure it looks good.
So Final Cut Pro, from the moment that we do freshman year, I mean, you had us doing little things, and through each level it built up. And so now I feel like I have a much better understanding of Final Cut Pro.
I think the system was kind of built around Final Cut Pro.
And it's really reliable and it's always there.
I would tell a teacher about Run It Like You Own It basically like this: let your students be who they are. Don't just impose yourself onto them. Trust them, treat them like people, and they'll do the best work that they'll ever do in their life.
The thing about letting the kids run it like they own it seems scary. When I proposed this to my admin, they thought I was crazy. And it's okay, because if you don't try something new, you're never going to know if it works. And I believe that it could. So what I want to do before I move on is there's a lot of stuff in the chat that I'd like to address to kind of get us back on track. Tangent question, how do you handle kids that are absent, but they're in a group project? Great question. In how we did it in COVID, it was actually easier. So our morning show went up every single week without fail when we were not face to face. So what we did was we developed a system that worked for COVID. So everybody had jobs to do, and we had a central Google Drive. Everybody uploaded their videos to Google Drive and then downloaded whenever we had to edit. I never touched any of the videos for an entire year, and we never missed a show. Never. When kids are absent, and you're probably seeing this now like I am, the absenteeism is astounding. Kids are still kind of not really self-assured coming off of COVID. You just let the crew go. For example, we are filming a music video. Everybody has to have, in the group, they all have to have the song on their phone in case somebody's absent. What if it's the lead person? Pick somebody else. I'm not so worried about the projects and what they look like as much as I used to be, as much as I am getting the kids to understand collaboration and cooperation. And that is the most important thing that we as teachers need to teach, is how to work together systematically, how to work with different ideas. And different ideas are great. For me, one of the best things is when I hear arguing in the edit bed. If I'm hearing arguing, that's two passionate people vying for their point of view. I'm good with that. And just letting the kids sometimes, I hate to say this, but letting them fail is okay. It's perfectly okay, as long as they learn what not to do next time. And that's learning. Great question. My first period class struggles with attendance. So the ones who show up get stressed out trying to figure out what to do. Damali, I am right with you. First period is a huge issue for all of us. Back to my systems approach. Please make your first period 9th graders. Make it level 1. I know sometimes you're going to have seniors in there, but go to your counselor and your registrar and make sure that your level 1 class is predominantly 9th graders. The reason being is because 9th graders usually ride the bus and they're not going to be late. We have a huge tardy issue in our class. For me, the bell rings at 8:20, the door gets locked at 8:20. You don't get in. You have to go to the office. I don't joke around with attendance. All of us, I think I can safely speak for all of us, we're all going through the same things. Our kids are coming off of a year and a half of not being face-to-face, not being social, not knowing how to be together as people. That's been my focus all year, is embrace being together. I'm not worried about the videos this year. I'm just not. If we get through this year, for next year, the classes will be better. But right now we're coming off of a year and a half of some really bad stuff. We don't have any idea how much it's messed up our students. I can safely tell you that for me, last year was tough. I wouldn't want to go through that again. This year is much better. So I want to read some of the other questions. So if the students are learning via YouTube and they are consistently working on projects, forgive me if it sounds rude, what does the teacher do? Or when does the teaching or learning happen on the next project? Great question, Zachary. It's rare that my students are having to go to YouTube to learn the assignment. Every assignment that is built in my calendar is built off the next one. I start with editing. Kids get in class on Monday in August. By Wednesday, they're editing. Even if they've never touched a Mac before, I get them to edit. I literally show them, I've got a big screen on the front of my class and I go through it. And when you put 4 kids in an edit bay, you know what's going to happen. 3 of them are going to participate. 1 of them is not. Here's the failing part. And it sounds tough, and it is. So my system is very simple. When you do a project, a video, the video is in Final Cut Pro, and it doesn't matter to me if it's Premiere or iMovie or WeVideo or whatever. Does not matter. The video is exported to the desktop and the students upload it to their YouTube channel, and a link is sent in and I'll show you in just a second. Now we're taking it in by teams. I have a way to get it on my website. So they send me a link. That 4th student, you know him or her. He's on his phone and he doesn't look up. You know what he also doesn't do? He doesn't know that the project has ended and the other kids have turned it in, and he hasn't turned it in, and that's a shame. When mom comes to argue with you, and she will, there were 4 people in the edit bay, everybody had the opportunity to upload it. I don't know how long it takes that 4th person to get it, but eventually they get it. It's okay if they struggle through the first part. It's okay to be tough. My kids are not learning on YouTube, they're learning from me. That being said, there are some times where kids will go to YouTube just to look at a video. I'm okay with that. YouTube is a good thing. Maybe this is too long, but just throwing it out there, just throwing out a thought. Can you take us through the process from introduction of due project to students handing in and the critique and feedback section, if there is one? Great question. So introduction, I'm going to introduce this project to my level 1 students. So the first thing I will do is I'll describe what the project is, what they should know about it, what they should understand, and then I'll put in, this is an individual project. All footage must be original. Here is the Foley Project. And basically these are steps, and I'm going to show them how to do this. And then to get more information, they're going to literally go to my website, and here is the unit on Foley. I'm going to play a couple of examples of Foley projects. I'm also going to talk about Foley artists. How many people have done a Foley project? Foley it literally changes the dynamic of your class. So I typically do Foley in October. What Foley is basically how to produce sounds in film. And this project, the students have to produce all the sounds of a film. So what I do is at home, I download Shrek, The Incredibles. I'll download about a 4-minute piece and I'll airdrop it to all the edit bays. The kids will insert it in the timeline, and then they have to recreate the dialogue and all the sounds and the music. The thing is they cannot use the internet to get any sound. They have to create the sounds on their own. It has to be organic. I have a microphone in each edit bay, and the kids go in and they do all the dialogue and they scream and they do everything. I will tell you that in October is when I do this project, and I literally cannot take roll because the kids go right into the edit bin. Zachary, this is how I do it, and I will literally show them this video. This is the video that I show them, and it's the magic of Foley.
Hollywood, everything is magic and make-believe,
Gloves with paper clips are dog paws.
even what you hear.
We are storytellers with sound. Over here, we have a feather duster used for bird wings. We bring sound into the story and we can create any mood with that sound.
Anyway, I showed that particular video. And I go through the video and I literally share, since I've been doing this for many years, I will share a video that they did last year. I don't have any to show right now, but the Foley Project literally changes their view on filmmaking. And then we watch the films. I reward the student that comes up with the most bizarre sound, what they use to create a sound. What happens is they work on it for 2.5 weeks. And they get so into sound that every one of their videos from that moment forward has to have good audio. It has to have good audio. So we work on that. Do I care if they miss sounds? No, that's not a big deal. Throw away the minutia of what it is that you're teaching and just connect with them as people. Also, what are the consequences of not delivering Run It Like You Own It? Can they be fired? Oh, I wish. There are going to be some students in your class that are just not going to do anything. They're dead weight. That's a reality. But if you look at your classes, and I could probably speak for a lot of you, if you look at your classes and there's 30 kids in there, there's probably 4, 5 tops that are not going to do anything. There are going to be 4 or 5 that are going to be amazing in your level 1 class. You know those kids. They're the kids that are coming in before school, coming in at lunch, staying after school, just so that they can do their project. They take it seriously. Those 4 or 5 in each of your classrooms, that's what you're going to build your program on, those kids. Those kids get rewarded. Those kids get to go on field trips. Those kids get the t-shirts. Those kids get to join me at football games when I live stream. They get free Chick-fil-A dinner. Those kids letter in my class. Rewarding is great, but I think as teachers, and I'm guilty of this just the same as everybody else, sometimes we focus in on the negative, the kid that isn't doing anything, the kid that is just, the group goes out and he comes and sits at his desk. That kid is probably got a crappy home life. That kid might be bullied. That kid might need somebody to talk to. Folks, that's your opportunity. When you have that kid, that's your opportunity to turn their life around. I can safely speak from experience that there have been several of those kids that I changed their life. I had no idea that I did. 5 years after they graduate, they email me. And that's your reward. That's why we're doing this. I used to think it was for the money and fame, but that really wasn't there. All right, so establishing Run It Like You Own It. It is about control. It's okay to give your students some control. It's probably the hardest on the teacher, but the reward, I promise you, the reward is when you just sit in your classroom and you just watch 30 kids heads down and they're doing the work. And it takes a little time to get there, So let's talk about pushback, because you're going to get pushback. And there are 3 areas of pushback: students, admin, and parents. The beauty part of this is when you start giving control to the students, they start performing better. And happy students make happy parents. And happy parents make happy admin. I know from experience, and I work very hard. More than anything I do is making people happy. And just so you know, it's not that easy, but last year I had a student that graduated, went through 4 years of my program. At senior night at the football game, he voted me as the teacher that inspired him the most. The best part about that whole experience is that his mother is our school principal. That year, we had another student who did the same thing, and his father is the assistant principal. What we do as film and video teachers is not like any other teacher in school. You're teaching the students a skill set, and this is what I need for us to remember. Anybody here play guitar or an instrument? Anybody? Roger, what do you play? Ooh. Guitar. Nice. Roger, do you remember the first time you made a G chord?
I still have a hard time with that.
Do you really? How long have you been playing?
Not long enough. It's my therapy.
Good for you. It's good therapy. Learning video, and this is what we all have to understand, learning video is like learning a musical instrument. It takes time and muscle memory to develop. Real learning is by muscle memory, and that's why we practice. And what you have to understand is every one of your assignments is practice. And if you could get that mindset, it's practice. Do you think football players don't know how to play football? They do. And every day they go to practice to get better, and go to the band. Every day they practice their musical instruments. That's the same thing that we're doing. And the only way that a student is going to get good is by doing it. That's it. I was not taught how to do video. I just did it. Fortunately, I was quick at learning it, but I had to because I had a family to support. Folks, it's time to assess your program. So your program is going to be in one of 3 areas. It's going to be growing, it's going to be steady, or it's going to be waning. And if you've just started as a teacher, if you've just started, more than likely you are replacing somebody that quit. Do you know what you probably are walking into? How many people are walking into a total mess? Oh yeah, I walked into, in fact, my first week at school, I told several teachers that I was the video teacher, and they laughed. They were like, good luck. Basically, my program was like this. You have behavior disorder, you should be in video. You don't speak English, you should be in video. You failed weightlifting, you should be in video. You're a juvenile delinquent, you should be in video. You can't read, you should be in video. You're in trouble all the time, you should be in video. That's what I was given. I started out with about 75 students. And in my first year, my first 2 years, I went to court twice. Now, if you remember, I teach at a very affluent school. I had the worst of the worst. That lasted 1 year. So here are the 3 steps you're going to need to take to build your program. And this is really super important. Number 1, educate your counselors. Your counselors are your friends. It took me a while to figure that one out. I wish somebody had told me. They have no idea what you're doing. They really don't. Don't be afraid to make nice videos for your counselors. Whatever they need, make videos for them. They will feed you students that you're gonna love. Number 2, if you're all teaching at high school, you have a middle school. Start at your feeder school. So that means you've got to develop the system before they get there. I happen to have a great middle school feeder program. The teacher is my former student. She knows my program. So by the time I get students now, they've already had video for 3 years. 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. And finally, number 3, promote and market your program with videos. That's what we do. If you're not marketing your program, if you're not producing videos that tell what you do or help other programs, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. So the morning show, yeah, that's where we advertise. By the way, the Run It Like You Own It, we were doing 2 shows a week. I don't know how many you guys are doing, but we were doing 2 shows a week, one on Wednesday, one on Friday. They're not live. I do not believe in live. One of my students came to me about 4 weeks ago and said, Mr. Meisner, I've got a better idea. I'm all ears. I like ideas. He said, why don't we forego the Wednesday show and we'll do an Instagram reel? Do you have an idea of what you want to do? Yeah, we're going to do the morning show in 1 minute. Okay, let me try it. We normally get 400 hits per YouTube video for our morning show. On Wednesday afternoon, we had over 3,000 hits on Instagram. Does the boy know his audience? Yes, my student knows his audience. I was lucky enough to listen to my student because he wanted to run it like he owned it. And he now produces little short segments of on Instagram probably every other day. He has built an audience of other schools. So I'm very, very pleased. All right. Zach, I can tell you got tons of questions, and it's perfectly okay. So where are you guys going to get your information? I'm hoping that I gave you some decent information today. But there is going to come a point where you're going to have to educate yourself by researching, by mentoring, by being mentored, networking, and exploring. So a lot of you guys are on Facebook. I am all over Facebook. I'm all over LinkedIn. I do have YouTube. I also train video teachers and walk them through a program if they're just starting out. Zach Garrett actually was one of the teachers that went through my program, and his program is rock solid. And don't be afraid to try something new. I think one of the things that I am starting to see are teachers leaving film and video because admin is asking too much of them. Are any of you guys going through that issue where admin is saying, you've got to videotape this, 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 and this? Is anybody going through that issue? All right, so Kendra, your program is waning. So you started in January, or you are going to start in January?
I am going to start in January. I've been teaching math for 10 and a half years at the school.
Mm-hmm.
So I am starting in January, and it's middle school. So I am very encouraged, but I need, you just said you train teachers. Me too, please.
Okay, so I do train teachers, and I go to the program and I sit with the teacher. I'm gonna put it out there. I don't want to advertise it yet, but that is a service that I charge. And how you get that is by going to your administration and asking for professional development. And the professional development is your professional development. So it's a personalized, I literally come to your place and sit in your classroom and show you how to lay out your whole program so that the kids can flow in and flow out. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can visit so I have a thing called thevideoteacher.org, and it's a program that I've developed, and it addresses probably most, if not all, of the questions and the issues that you have. So I literally go through all of that. So what I would like to do is, I've spoken for about an hour. What question do you have to me that you feel like you need that answer today so that you can get a better start tomorrow? And I know we're all ending the semester. I just got this text message that if you do want to learn more about film and video, how to teach, I'm going to recommend Student Television or Student Television Network. I just need to make sure that I spelled it correctly.
And Trace, if you don't mind if I say that just for a second.
Yes.
So yeah, so Student Television Network is a great organization for everybody to look at joining. I mean, I learned it from Tracy. It was one of the best things that happened in my program. By the way, I'm Zach Garrett. Hello, everybody. I'm the other Zach. Learn from the best, Tracy Meisner. But unless like you will want to bug Tracy all day, which I'm sure he would be willing to do that, but he has students as well. Student Television Network is a great place where it's an organization that Tracy's a part of also. He was one of the teachers of the year a few years ago. And actually his student is the student that made that dramatic writing commercial is STN Student of the Year. And so STN is an organization that does contests throughout the year for your students. And so contests are a huge thing that can build like fire and inspiration into your program, and they love to compete. And so if you're interested in joining, drop your email in the chat and I'll get you connected, because I'm on the membership team for STN, and we'll get you connected to that team as well, because we really want to build this community, because Tracy and I are in it, and we will swear by STN because they are the fire under our programs. I mean, Tracy has more awards than I think a normal shelf can hold. So, but the kids love it, don't they, Tracy? They win something. What do they do?
Yeah, they win, and it builds natural competition in your program. So my students come in at 9th grade going, I want to be like Van Emberger. And that's pretty huge. Van Emberger just graduated. And how heavily do I use rubrics? I don't. I like to do a lot of ebb and flow. Now, that being said, I did create a rubric that is pretty outstanding, and it's for a major project that my students did. It was a capstone project for my upper level film students, and those upper level film students typically go on to film school. But Kendra, I'll be developing rubrics for every single project that I have. And I try not to put too many qualifications in the video, because here's what that I promote. Simply do your best, be proud of your work. That's it. You want that in a rubric? Go put that in a rubric. There is nothing better than inspiring the kids going, hey, do your best. Do your best. After a while, it really does mean something. And then be proud of your work. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but one of the things that my students love to do is show their work on the screen. And we have a surround sound system. I've got a 60-inch beautiful monitor for my classroom. And you can feel the sound when you're watching our videos. And a lot of times the administrators upstairs will come downstairs because their floor rumbles when I play our videos. So be proud of your work and do your best. It's okay. Like, it's okay to say that to a kid. Hey, as long as you're doing your best. The other thing I would like to add to this program is something that I really want us all as teachers, as husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, establish boundaries for your work. Leave appropriately, leave the school appropriately. If you didn't finish grading, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not a big stickler for grades. I'm 59 years old. You know how many people have asked me for my grades? 0. Even when I got hired, nobody asked me, are you an A student or were you a C student? Does it really matter? Family and health always comes first. And you're building not only your program, but you're building the culture of your program. What's the culture you want to create? What's the culture you want to work in? Do you want to work in high stress? You guys have got to do this. You guys are lazy. You guys, that's just not going to work. It's not. It doesn't work for me. It's not going to work for them. So sometimes just, hey, it's okay. Just encourage and do your best. That's perfectly okay. Any other questions or issues that you feel like I did not address that you would like at least some idea on? I know we got kind of sidetracked on the STN, but that was a good sidetrack. I love STN, and those of you who become involved, you'll find probably the best teachers, the best students, and when you go, it is, it's hard to explain, but the best way to describe this is, I want you to think about your best student. If you had one student to pick, and it was your best student, I want you to multiply that times 3,000. And that's how many kids go to this convention. And it's the best of the best. And you're going to see kids walking around with C100s, Reds, little pocket cameras, tripods, mics, and they're all doing the same thing. They're a bunch of idiots. And it's the most fun I've ever had teaching. My students loved it. Unfortunately, this year, my students will not be attending, but that's an admin thing that I could not resolve. Zach, where do you teach? At Yeshiva?
Yeah, I teach at a Jewish private school, Katz Yeshiva High School in South Florida.
Oh, excellent. Well, I'm a member of the tribe. Any other questions? Structure for stories. I've seen some clips. I like how you keep it fun, but how much real journalism is behind that? Roger, none. I have been unsuccessful at mentoring the kids towards journalism. Not to say that I have two students right now that are at the University of Georgia, some former students. I call them my students because we text each other almost every day, even though they're not in my classroom. They are writing for the University of Georgia. The focus of my program is branding and monetization. So I'm going to share with you something that is probably going to blow your mind. Allow me to go to one of my students. Can you guys see my screen here? Cool beans. This is my senior. Kindly look at her subscriber list. 640,000. Her clients include Amazon, Instagram, Victoria's Secret, Sephora, Gymshark, and probably 30 or 40 others. She currently makes probably about $150,000 a year. She makes it look easy, but it's not. So these videos that she does is edited by the guy who was in that screen right there, who is another one of my students. He quit his job, his day job, to work for her. She has a team of management. Needless to say, she's not going to college, nor does she have to. I spend probably one full class period every single week being mentored by her. She started in my 9th grade, really liking video, and started doing YouTube, and I encouraged her. And her goal was to beat this guy, one of my former students, 1.63 million subscribers. That's what I teach. If you polled your 9th graders right now and asked them why they're in your class, I will bet you, without any hesitation, most of them want to be YouTubers. Do I have a unit on lighting? No, I do not. I am very guilty on not putting the kids out there with lights. That's not to say that my students don't have lights. I do, like, for the student or the group of students that want to do lighting, I'll give them a quick 3-point lighting tip. But that's about it. I try to focus in on natural light as much as possible. What do you use for audio when shooting on a Canon DSLR T7? So who is that? Cole, where are you? So you're there. So Cole, I don't know if you were
Hi, sorry, I'm here, but I'm walking the dog out in the dark in Southern California.
No worries, no worries. So the video that I played of Run It Like You Own It, where all the kids spoke, that was filmed on my iPhone 10. And the audio came from their iPhones. So the best audio is typically their iPhone, if the certain situation allows. So Cole, you're shooting on a T7, not a T7i, so you have to do audio syncing. You can't plug a microphone in a T7. You can plug in a microphone in a T7i.
That's what it seems like. I think I wasn't aware of all this. Is it T7i is that clarify for me, because I haven't bought cameras in a bit. Is that it's just same camera but with an audio plug-in? Is that it?
That's it. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know.
It's a
Okay.
it's a common mistake, and folks, one of the things that I do, I can hear the frustration. I'll be assisting in December a whole program that bought a bunch of the T7s. And had they just contacted me before they bought all of those cameras, I could have saved them tons of money, because the iPhone 13 shoots better than a T7 or a T7i. So you're going to see, in fact, I don't know if you guys can see my little Apple thing here. I'm an Apple Distinguished Educator, which means that I work with Apple a lot. And so I try to make video filming and editing as simple as possible, because ultimately you're creating stories. And I think all of us are guilty of, we got to have the latest camera. No. Show me an iPhone 13 video and show me a T7i or a Canon 90D. The iPhone 13 is going to be as comparable as the Canon 90D. And a 90D is $1,000 camera. I don't know about you, but I can put this in my pocket. I can't put a 90D in my pocket. So I highly recommend filming on phones. Cole, luckily you haven't bought anything yet. If you're getting ready to buy any equipment, and that goes for everybody here, if you're getting ready to buy, shoot me an email and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I'll ask you like 4 questions. And if the answers come back the way they're going to come back, I'm going to advise against buying it. There's a certain feeling for a real camera. There is. I'm not going to lie. But what it really comes down to is, can your kids tell a good story? And does it look good? And does it sound good? And if it looks good and sounds bad, it's still bad. Audio is 50% of your video. One of the things I forgot to mention is I'm a recording engineer by trade. So I'm going to be heavily influenced on audio. I'm gonna use this as much as I can because it's convenient and it's easy. So I have invested, rather than a lot of money in cameras, I have peripherals, iPhone holders for tripods, sleds for cameras to go into an iPhone holder so that my skateboarders can film on their iPhone. I try to target and get those kids to film as much as possible. And filming on an iPhone is great stuff. Kids and parents take it more seriously. Do you kids have sync sound for films? And the answer is yes. I go over a whole lesson on clapping twice and syncing audio. And a peripheral breakdown. I'm not sure what you mean by a peripheral. Like little stuff for the iPhone. Basically, whatever you can imagine on most of the stuff costs like $15-20. What do you use to download an iPhone to a PC? Robert, I don't know where you are. I don't have a PC.
Yeah, I was forced to. I was forced to. It wasn't my choice.
Yeah.
So we're Windows based. We're Adobe Windows based. And when I went there, I lost my Final Cut Pro. I had to go to Adobe. Wasn't my decision.
I hear you. I hear you.
Wasn't my decision, but that's what I have to deal with. And so we have a hard time syncing
audio,
the iPhones. Well, audio, but just getting the iPhone video to the PC. I don't know if anybody else has. We tried direct plugins. We tried cords. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Google Drive. I just didn't know what anybody else did.
Oh yeah.
AirDrop is a beautiful thing.
It is.
I don't have the AirDrop.
Yeah, I don't know. I will tell you that I have fought with my admin to get and keep Macs.
I lost.
Yeah, it was for me. I just feel like it's just an easy workflow because we literally transfer files so easily that we don't have to upload to Google Drive or OneDrive. Oh, you know what works? OneDrive.
Yeah, we tried that. We tried that a little bit. I think that might be more of our school system allowing that, the OneDrive, to drop it on the kids' phones there and then to log in. So I'm going to check a little bit more into that.
So I don't know what your
that might be more of our internal server. Yeah, it might be on our IT.
Your IT people will take care of that. In our school system, the kids were given a terabyte of hard drive space. And so what I've told my students that are filming on Androids is that when you're filming, when you come back into the network, if you're filming outside and you come back into school, open up your AirDrop app, upload, and then by the time you set up your system or whatever, you can download to your computer. And that should work because honestly, the files can't be that big unless they're shooting in 4K. Google Drive or OneDrive, to me, it doesn't matter. Whatever you've got, use. I love Google Drive, but sometimes Google Drive takes a little bit longer to process. And one of the benefits, the face masks, they can capture video on their phones, then do a clean VO and no worries about lip syncing. I hear you, Jamie. I'd still make them lip sync. I would still make them. I still make them lip sync. Audio is a good thing, and my hope is that this time next year, you guys are not wearing any face masks. I'm not wearing any face masks. Any other technical stuff? My goal tonight was to be as inspiring as I could be. And I still, to this very day moment, your job is that you're going to inspire some kid in your class. You have no idea who it is. You just don't. And you're going to find out. And that's the cool part of the job, is you find out maybe when they're a senior that you inspired them. That's a payment that doesn't come on a paycheck, and I get it every single day. I think one of my rewards this week was I went into my LinkedIn and I literally contacted former students for letters of recommendation, which is a very cool thing. And to see their jobs on LinkedIn, one guy is head of Fox Sports digital development. Another one is the marketing director for Douglas Elliman Real Estate. Another one is the marketing or the social media director for Spotify, CNN producer. And like I said, I wish I could do a lot more journalism. I'm just not good at journalism. So I teach how to make money. I don't think there's anything wrong in getting high school kids to make money. And so that also helps reduce the amount of stuff that comes in my way, because whenever I get asked to do something, I send a student and I tell them, negotiate with the student how much you're going to pay that student. And that works. Zach, good night. We'll talk. I'm going to end it here because I am parched beyond belief. I want to thank you guys so much for making this easy on me and fun. And my goal is to do this again. And if you have questions that I didn't even touch, contact me through either ahsvideo.com or thevideoteacher.com, or you can email me directly at my school.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you guys. So I'm putting
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. It's funny, I just got in here late, and what you're talking about, the videos, we're just going to start like a vlogging unit. Never done it before. So I'm going to try to epically fail at this one. But you know what? That's what we do.
That's what we do. Yes.
It'll be better the second time.
Yes, it will always be. And by the way, I've got this recorded, so I'll be posting
please.
this.
I want to see it because I came in right when you were talking about your kids.
Oh, no worries, no worries. And this will go up probably this evening, and I'll post a link in the Facebook pages. There's like 7 of them. So take care. I will see you. Let me see if I can put my email in there, and for some reason I can't.
Can you just tell it to us?
Yes, it's Meisner T, MISNER, the letter T, at Fulton Schools, plural, fultonschools.org, FULTONSCHOOLS.org. Oh, there it is. It went in. It's in the chat. For some reason, it was just not going in. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys learned something. I learned a ton, and I want to do this again. And like I said, hit me up for any questions you've got. I will see you guys next time.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.